Right, here we are at the Asbestos track in Kahurangi National Park. No Kev today, so I've got my son Harry who's coming with me for the walk. Pretty straightforward walk today, probably a couple of hours in to the famous Asbestos hut, and we'll see what we can find along the way, but it should be pretty good. Beautiful weather today as well. So, just a little bit about this track. It's actually a famous asbestos mining track from back in the late 1800s really. So what we're walking along at the moment, it's a pretty well established track, but it narrows later on is what I've been told as you get further in. So pretty straightforward at the moment, completely surrounded by beautiful native forest and no one around. Pretty good.
So we've just come out of the tree line and look at all the view around us.
Righty ho, we've been walking for about just over half an hour. You'll see behind me the track is narrowed up now, and it's gotten pretty nice. We've got quite a few nice birds around us, been followed by fantails and bellbirds and tuis. It's pretty awesome. Right, we're about an hour in and it's beautiful weather here. It's absolutely stunning, and we're getting into some of the more interesting part of the trail now. We're starting to see a few remnants of the old mines and bits of equipment scattered around the track. I think we'll see some more as we carry on. There's the sign showing us we've got about 30 minutes to get to the cottage. Down here you'll see someone's collected up quite a bit of the old historic equipment, and it's pretty cool to see that it's still around. So in and around here is the old asbestos works. Back in the days when asbestos was a popular building material, didn't used to catch on fire, I think, so it was used widely, but then obviously there's been significant health issues discovered since then. But this whole area around here, this is what it was famous for, and that's why the cottage that we're going to has its name. That's where we're heading. Right, we're closing in on Asbestos Cottage. What's so interesting about this track, and what I guess intrigued me for wanting to come in here, really was the history behind it all. The hut was built or started construction over 120 years ago, and it's still here. It's obviously been modified over the years, but pretty amazing that it's still here. And I'll also tell you a little bit about the history of people that lived in this cottage for 40 years. Quite amazing really, out in the middle of nowhere.
We're almost there. So we've made it to Asbestos Hut. Welcome site.
Into the hut we go. What do you see here? I believe these are original chairs. Very, very old. Right, that looks like it's the fridge or the outdoor storage area. Back around, some relics on the wall there. Doc have done a good job in here maintaining this place. Quite a bit about the history. Old bench, wash basin. And the fireplace. Old relics as well up the top there. Very, very hard to believe that someone could live here for 40 years, but it was simpler times back then. Here's some old tools. And into the bunk rooms. So again, Doc has done a good job in here. Once upon a time this would have had some sort of bed in it. Now it's just got the 4 bunks. So just a bit more about the history here. This is where Annie and Henry Chaffey lived for 40 years. So if you read online a bit about them, there's quite an amazing story how they ended up here. But from what I understand, Annie was separated from her previous husband and was escaping him. He was an abusive husband. She moved up here with Henry. He was an asbestos worker. They moved into this established cottage and they created a life for themselves up here for 40 years. Annie only left the place once, I believe, to go to hospital for a medical reason, but other than that she never ever left the place. And Henry, he would walk in and out a couple of days to get food and supplies when they needed them, and he ultimately died on the track in his 80s. Had a heart attack, and after which Annie had to leave the hut and go and live with family down in South Canterbury. She couldn't stay here anymore by herself, and tragically she took her own life in the end. So quite a sad story in the end, after what was quite a unique existence living in a place like this.
So yeah, that was an awesome visit to Asbestos Hut.
Yeah, it sure was. It took us about 2 hours to walk in from the car park. Stopped for lunch for about half an hour. We're going to make our way back out now. I'd say it'll take us about an hour and a half to walk back out, mostly downhill. And highly recommend this trip to anyone that's interested in the history of this area or just wants a really nice walk for the day. Alright, we've made it back to the start of the track. Hope you enjoyed this video. Keep an eye out for the next one.
Please like and subscribe.